Hey, good morning, and welcome back to the Marketing Perspective. I'm James Stanella, and we are in our second season now. I'm excited. We've added video, as you can see. I'm really looking forward to because we have some special guests this season, all experts in their areas, all very talented, all knowing things that I don't know, which is why we do this. I am pure marketing. Everything I say is always going to be from a marketing perspective. The people that I bring on will be solid in the chair that they're in, so you get their perspectives as well. And the idea is you as a business owner or a senior person in business, you get to take some of this information and apply it to your world as you need fit. There's no selling, there's no advertising here. It is pure education and information. This is a topic-driven show. So today we are talking about what it looks like from a business owner's perspective and an employee's perspective inside the walls of how to market a business effectively. So this is something I really hope you're tuning in today. I think it'll be valuable information and insights that you will walk away from a lot happier, hopefully, in the near future. So let's get started. I'm going to bring on a very special guest and friend and colleague, and we've met some time ago. Full disclosure, when he talks about the agency he used to have, he's talking about my firm. So whether he says it or not, I don't know, but that's how we initially began our relationship. And I call it that because it is a relationship. We got pretty tight. We have helped each other through thick and thin. I'm excited about where he is now. He has switched over to another company, which he is going to share, but his insights are valuable. And I hope you're tuning in and listening today. Let's get started. So Rob Baughman, I want to introduce you to the show. Rob is now with All-Star Security, and he is the Director of Marketing and Sales there. Rob, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the show.
Thanks, James. I appreciate your invite. It's always good to see an old friend on the screen, and hopefully we don't go off the rails too much today because this could be a lot of fun for two old friends chatting about business in the past.
Yep,
I'm excited.
exactly. And then all of a sudden we start crying in a corner.
It's possible. It's possible.
So you have a lot going on in your life, and a lot of good, a lot of even family stuff, because we know each other. So it's funny, if you're a business owner, business owners tend to carry stuff on their shoulders. There's a lot, everybody has a lot going on in their personal world. How do you separate that? How do you conduct business? And when it comes to marketing, so my perspective of that is you have to have your big boy panties on, and the company has to show strength, and it has to show that it can do the job that you want it to do. But at the end of the day, it has to be real and has to be authentic. And I just want to say, Rob is probably one of the most authentic people I know. And he shoots from the hip. So, Rob, I'm really excited that we're about to talk about this. And thank you very much for jumping in. So, why don't you? I'm going to shut up, and I'd like you just give us a little exposition. Tell us where you came from, if you want to tell us how it started, so we understand your head and the journey a little bit. Just give us the bullets here and there, and then we can dive in.
Yeah, well, I was in construction for most of my life in some trade form for approximately 25 years. Middle 2007-8, when things started to go terrible, I went back to college, got a 6-year degree. It was only a 4-year degree, but it took me 6 to get it. Went into project management in a firm in a town near us in Nashville, in Murfreesboro, south of Nashville, and enjoyed that a lot. Their company changed direction. I didn't want to go there. We parted ways amicably, and I started my own firm with a partner, and it went really, really well. Now I've always been a self-marketer, networker, the face of my business. So that was the way I stayed, and I started that way in 2019. I think it's how you and I met, through networking. And then when we started talking, and we brought your business in to to market the new business. Honestly, man, things went exponential, but we can go there a little bit later. Um, and it was a night and day difference as far as the traffic. Um, we went down that road for about 5 years, and we can also talk later about how that ended and where we are. But now I am currently in an employee role, which is a very different place. As a business owner, I tell people my stress level is about a 12 at all times out of 10. Um, and the day I started as an employee, my stress level went to about a 2. So, yeah, it changed the way I treated my family. It changed the way I treated my grandkids. It changed the way my wife saw me. It changed the way I walk through life with my shoulders relaxed rather than here. So yeah, I'm super excited where I am. Obviously, it has its cons, and obviously we can talk about the cons as well. Um, but I think the pros outweigh, in my opinion. Now, some people just love to own a business and they love to work under that stress, and that's more power to that person. I find myself in my 4th business saying I don't want to do that anymore. But James, you still do it, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little crazier than you are. That I've had times where I said, you know what? I would sleep a little bit better at night. Business owners understand that. If you're not a business owner, I'm sorry, you just don't understand that. I don't care if you're a mom pop or a big company, business owners understand when they go home, it's still in their head. They have responsibilities. They have responsibilities to their staff, to the people that they serve. There's good, bad, and indifferent about owning your own business. And I commend people that are able to do it successfully. So I have had days over the years. I mean, my company is 20 years in business now. And I have had times where I was like, you know what? My life would be so much easier if I just go back and work. I made more money. I had less stress. I slept really well at night. So I get it. I totally understand. Well, that's not why we're here today. We're here. I really want to give insights to people, uh, good, bad, and indifferent, when it comes to marketing their own business. So let's get back to you're as a business owner, when you were handling the marketing yourself. Now, when I met Rob, Rob is not your average young business owner. Well, he's not young, but
Hey,
was that too much across the bow? That was too quick.
let's just shot right across.
Yeah, right. He had a natural gifting for marketing and sales. He's excellent at a high level, understanding human behavior. He understands how to develop relationship. He understands how to present his offering, and it's just a matter of honing and polishing and some of the strategies behind that. But he was way further ahead than a lot of companies that I meet. So I want to give him that right out of the gate. So in the beginning, you were doing all that yourself. Start with that. Talk about when you were doing your own marketing, when your company first got going, what were the pros, what were the cons, and then maybe even some of the successes and failures there.
Sure. Yeah, I think some of the things that I didn't know before. I did do a lot of marketing, and I actually love marketing. It's one of my favorite things in the world. If James, you ever need somebody, just holler at your boy, and I'll come work for you. But
With me, and believe me, when you were in transition, in the back of my mind, I was like, "Can I afford Rob?" I wasn't kidding. Yeah, you never asked, but it was in my mind.
I didn't. But yeah, no, I love marketing. It's one of my favorite things. I love the creation part of it. I love, you know, creating things. And one of the things that I did, even working for another firm, we had to market our own work. So we had to bring in our own leads and we had to generate our own leads. So I did a lot of social media, obviously. And it was a lot of, on social media, I would use a lot of third person, or I would use a lot of we group, us terms, as a team, building a team around myself. Although most of the time it was just me being the responsible party, but I would always make myself look bigger. It was one of my tricks. even when it was just one or two or three of us uh, doing the work or being part of the company, I always made it seem like we were bigger than we were. Even so much as to label the trucks in a very professional way, so that when people saw them down on the road, and then they saw a couple of graphics online, and a few odds and ends, they thought, I've seen you everywhere. And we've gone over that as well, James, in the past, where that we've discussed that mental transaction that happens.
Rob, hang on one second. That's something like if y'all have listened to the show, when we talk about branding, and people get nervous when you talk about branding. Oh, it's a big term. Only large companies can do that. But what Rob just said, those basic touches, the consistency of their brand of being on a truck, and you go to the site and there's consistency there, and whatever collateral they have, he connected the dots, and that's branding at a very high level. Believe it or not, with pennies on the dollar, you can actually do that for your own company. So just keep that in mind as he's continuing. I just want to make sure, I want to reiterate it and put an exclamation point at the end.
I mean, it was $400 for my first truck wrap. I know everybody's like, what? But I had a white truck and I got gray letters, and we just did them in a font that matched our logo. And obviously it wasn't super colorful or bright or fun, and it wasn't a full vehicle wrap, but we utilized the paint on the car against the color of the graphic. And before we started with Media Vision, we had no color in our logo. It was one of the first things that changed, and they added some color to the logo for creativity. But we had a very basic gray and white. We created that idea from the clean, square design purpose. So we had all these things in mind that were real, I don't know, just clean and edgy. And then obviously I hit every networking event possible, and I always wore a branded shirt. And I always showed up in, clean pants and clean boots, and I made sure that my presentation was good. I worked on my elevator speech. I made sure people knew exactly what I was looking for. There's a lot of things you pick up in books and podcasts and growth opportunities, such as having 4 elevator speeches and rotating the 4 elevator speeches for specific items that you're asking for. And then, that's personal branding and personal advertising, just getting out there and grassroots building it. I guess that's what I did.
Then I would add the first thing that we did, I remember, it was more about content marketing than it was, hey, let's go spend a lot of money. And the content marketing, I mean, just because this is what we do every day, it kind of added to that. We didn't take away from what you did or change much. Adding that color was really to give you an identifying color to your brand and give you something that was unique in comparison to what everybody else was doing that was doing gray, white, and black. So it kind of set you all apart, and it did help. I have to say that color did help. From a brand perspective, but we still, at the end of the day, you still got to drive business in the door today. And with that, the content marketing that we added started to do that pretty quickly. And then, we kind of went from there.
One of the things that I remember very clearly when we first started talking was first thing you did was, you're doing a great job. you praised me for what I was doing. You made sure I knew exactly what to keep doing. But the next thing you did was say, we could do better in this area, this area, this area right now. And so the color, obviously the orange color, we had a few conversations about it. I didn't want it to be, the big box lumber store orange, and I didn't want it to be the university orange. I said it needs to be something completely different, and your team found a great blood orange that I really, really liked, and it worked for the Nike shirts. The orange Nike shirts, that almost a perfect match. And but anyways, I learned a lot from you guys, especially specific colors, specific use of color, and how that works in the human mind and helps people connect dots. The use of font, I mean, I knew a little bit about, font and the memorization of font and how it connects the dots. But other than things like Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and the big items, um, you know, I didn't know that it would work on a small business, but it does. It truly does.
Yeah, it is hard to get that. Yes.
I think we had it though. I think we had that recognition. We really did.
You did 100%. When I've talked about your company to other people, oh, I know that company, and they would, even when you were younger, they would say, "Well, that's a big company, right?" I went, huh."
So big, I had an office in my garage.
That's right. In the beginning, but then, by the end, you had 3 physical locations, and
I never had an office.
because of your role, if you're sitting in the office, you're not really not getting the job done. So yeah, and that's what Rob's attesting to, the creative side and the brand side, and it did actually work. It was part of the secret sauce. The content was a big part of it as well. The videos, I'm going to make Rob squirm a little. We started doing these videos that I swear by, and it was he was the first company we did this with. It just was this brainchild that came out of a internal creative meeting, and we said, well, this is what I think we need. And little 2-minute vignettes on topic driven, a little tip, not handing away the farm, but giving the homeowner educational things they can do for their own home. Like, some people don't even know where the shutoff valve is for their water, right? Or the emergency valve for the gas, or little, like, my favorite one was the dryer and the washer. I'll never forget that. Here's this man. How tall are you, Rob? 6'4"?
I'm 6'5".
Ish.
Yeah.
6'5". Yeah. He's a big guy, and he's down tucked in between the washer and the dryer, and he's holding up his phone trying to take video, like real crunchy granola, like gorilla style kind of thing. He's like, James, this just isn't going to work. He goes, I hate this. He was so uncomfortable. But I'll tell you, like, the minute we pushed that video out, we got like 800 hits like the next day. Like, it was crazy. And then we were off and running. He became known for doing that kind of stuff, and he had a pretty decent following because of it. It cost us virtually nothing. It's not always about spending money. So that's what I mean about content marketing. Um, it it sometimes you got to think a little bit out of the box, be a little bit unique. And one of his strengths is being authentic. So we took advantage of it, and it went off pretty well, I think. Rob, you hated it, right? At first.
Well, I did hate it. I hated doing the video work and the work itself. It was really difficult. I think one of the benefits I had is I had been on a couple of television shows doing home improvements, and I saw them do it over and over and over again. It's retake and retake.
I was gonna bring that up, but since you said it, so Rob was used to, and I came from that world, like high production value, and multiple takes and 5 cameras, and there's a craft service person side, and here he is holding his own camera phone. He's like, James, what are you thinking here? Like,
yeah, this is crazy. Suck. Yeah.
And I'm happy, like, when it comes down to clients, if they want to bring in crews, the bigger the better. The more money a client spends, the more money an agency makes. Sure, go ahead, spend the money. And I'm the one on the other side of the table saying, don't spend that money, let's do it like this. So it was an interesting dichotomy, that it was reversed, and you wanted bigger and more, and I'm like saying less, but usually I was the one saying, no, it's got to be bigger. And we eventually found our balance between us, and it went off very well. So again, if you're listening, it's not always about spending more. Sometimes, if you can be smart about it, and use the tools that you have at your disposal, you can get the same things done much more cost effectively and still get the result that you're trying to get to grow your business. So that, I have to say, that has to be one of my favorite interactions with the company over the years, is that time frame between you and I. I had the most fun trying to talk you down from the tree. Like, where's the lights, James? I'm like, you're it. Get out in the sunshine.
And we did.
So
we did.
We definitely had some good times, and then there were some bad times. the company did have its downturn. Had nothing to do with its marketing, just for the record. Had nothing to do with anything, any inability. I'm just going to summarize it. And it was a financial situation that occurred internally, and things happen. And
Yeah.
it went really horribly.
Yeah, there's other videos out there online that explain that.
Yeah, if y'all want to, I don't want to park there because I don't think that's the point of this. But I bring it up because I will personally say that Rob's company was probably my favorite experience since I've been in Nashville. And I saw the successes. I saw how we were able to do things without spending a lot of money. I mean, he had a budget, and little by little that budget grew because he started growing as a much bigger company. It was going perfect. He was my jewel, my case study of case studies, and to see it go away personally affected me emotionally. I mean, I know it affected Rob. We had we gotten together more, we would have drank very heavily, I have a feeling. So why am I bringing that up? Because if you're a business owner, business isn't personal, right? It's just business, but it's more than business. It is a part of you. It becomes a part of who you are. And it's like your baby in a sense. It's a family member. The entity becomes this living, breathing thing, and your responsibilities grow. And it's almost like you're a father and you have children, and all of a sudden your life changes. It's the same thing when you own a business. So it does get personal. It feels personal. Get a coach. I highly recommend have a business coach that can navigate you, or put people around you that are experts in their field.
Can I interrupt you just for a second, James? Yes, I totally agree with get a coach. I absolutely say everyone should have a coach. But if you're a business owner, make sure you vet that coach. Make sure that they're an actual business coach, that they actually know business. They've been in business. They've been successful in business. That's key as well. Or if they're not successful in business, at least they've learned. There's so many coaches out there who've read a book and had a class, and now they're a business coach. And that doesn't qualify someone to help you run your small business. So definitely get a coach, but make sure they come with high recommendations and they know terms that you don't know, like EBITDA and net and and what does gross margin truly mean. If they don't know those things, don't do it. It's not worth it. Wasted money.
Yeah, there's a business coach that I recommend, and when I first met him one day, he was talking about gross anticipated revenues. I almost hugged him, but he's like 6'4" and 250, and I decided not to. But I was so happy. You want to find somebody who understands more than you do. Right, exactly. Hey, before we go away from you as a business owner, the one question I really want to understand is, what was the impetus that made you turn around and hire an agency? Why you got to a certain plateau, or it was, I just don't want to do this anymore? Because you were good at it, and I think you knew you were, and you don't know what you don't know, right? But what was the impetus that made you go ahead and do that?
Well, to be honest, I think it was us talking, us just having conversations and going through networking, and I saw some hope in that, and when we started talking about it, thought that would be really cool. How much would that cost? And then obviously it was over my budget right at first. You were very generous in helping me, get started at a lower level. And
you got
honestly,
COVID pricing.
I did get COVID pricing. Yes, I remember that. And I remember the next year going, "Hey guys, we got to do something different."
COVID's over, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, once you get used to having that many calls per week and being able to pick your work and, being selective about what you want to do, it's really hard to go back to 4 or 5 calls a week and taking every job that comes in the door. So I think, that was kind of my impetus to go into it. And then to stay in it, you kind of just get used to that process and that speed and that load. And then we started hiring, so then we had to fill that hire, and then we got over full and we had to hire some more, and then it just kept going. I think there's a whole growth segment that someone needs to have that conversation as well, but that's not for this podcast.
As companies grow, they they have to add certain key people like CFOs and things like that to really, make sure they're guiding the ship correctly. If you're, I see it all the time. There's companies that they go into growth mode, but if they're still acting as a small company, it gets dangerous. That's why those coaches and consultants and stuff are so important. Agreed. Um, I appreciate you. That's a great why as to how we got to work together. And it was a good experience. I don't want to park there, but let's switch over to, just for time's sake, you in your current role. You're working for a Atlas, All Star Atlas. Oh, wow. I have a company in New York that I work with. Um, just give me the summary of All Star and its capabilities and size and all that kind of stuff.
So I moved into the sales and marketing director role here at All Star Fire Protection. We are a fire protection service based out of Nashville, Tennessee. They're 34 years old. I've only been here a few months at this point. And I was brought here to help develop and train and grow a sales team in the 4 markets that they owned, which were Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Bowling Green, Kentucky. Since then, we've been purchased by a larger firm, a national firm, and we're learning how to be a national company at this point. So I'm growing in that role. I'm learning along the way. It's been an adventure and a lot of fun. But I will say, again, to come into a role where cash isn't my concern. Well, I mean, I have a budget, but the cash, when I say cash, I say it's more along the lines of how are we going to make payroll on Friday? That's not my major concern every week. I get to focus on the creativity. I get to focus on the development. I get to focus on the growth, the recruiting, the hiring, the development of people, which is one of my favorite things in the world. I love to teach. So I'm hitting all the high points of what I love to do and who I am. And I think that's the biggest thing for me right now is just that ability to do what I love. And, there's several things in business I could do. And it doesn't always mean that, you love doing them, but I could do them. I could do disciplinary action. I could do budget meetings. I could do negotiations. I could do all those other things, but they weren't my fun. That wasn't why I got in business. I truly got in business because I love creating. I love growing. I love building. So I'm in a construction business. It is commercial construction. We do fire protection. We do inspections and service work, and we do full installation. We're working on towers, and we're working on flat land, and we're working on brand new builds, and we're working on mom and pop florists. So we really get to cover a wide gamut, and it's so much fun to just get out there in the world and see that and be part of it. So that's why I'm in it. I'm enjoying myself, having a good time.
You kind of alluded to it in between the lines, but I know you, so I want to make sure that our listeners understand. Can you share what the transition was like, and maybe what that past experience, how it helped you bring it into where you are now?
So the last year of business was one of the worst years of my life. I can't talk about it without getting slightly emotional. So when it came to an end and all the money was gone and We were unable to pay our bills, and we were unable to truly close it in a healthy way. Um, it was a full collapse. And if you've never gone through that, I can't explain it. You'd have to walk beside me. So when it fully collapsed and we filed Chapter 7 and everything went down and I lost a lot of friends, I lost a lot of business connections that I had built over the last 15 years. Um, I lost a lot. Um, I won't take away from the people that were affected by it because they lost as well. And there's not enough apologizing for that to be fixed. I can't do it. It's been proven I can't offer it enough. My partner and I did try to start a new business and keep going because it was what we knew and we had to keep going. That was a complete mistake. What we should have done was taken some time to heal and recoil a little bit. Take time off would have been a great idea. But we were also in the middle of some things that we had to close up and we didn't know how. We truly didn't know how. And honestly, as many people that were around me, I don't think anybody really knew how to tell me to manage that moment. So we spent 30, 45 days, something like that, trying to continue to do business. We shouldn't have, but we did. And when it finally came to the place where we both learned this isn't going to work, and I just went to my partner and said, if we're going to stay in this industry, we can't do it together because it can't afford both of us. And I'm going to bow out. And he agreed, and he went and continued to do work as a smaller business. I basically told myself I'm taking 2 months off. I'm going to lick my wounds and find some healing, and just separate myself. I put the word out to some networking friends from a group we all were part of in C12. And I just said, hey, guys, I'm going to take some time off, but I'm putting myself on the market. I'm going to be an employee. I'm going to reach out to some folks. If you don't mind, share my name. Here are the things that I'd love to do. And basically named everything I'm doing right now. And a friend of mine, Casey, who was an owner here at All Star, said, I would absolutely refer you, and I appreciate you reaching out to me. He said, but can we have lunch? And absolutely. I don't have a job. Let's have lunch. And so we sat down. He said, I really need somebody for this role. Really need somebody for this role right now. We could really use some improved sales force in our company. We could really use you to kind of develop this department. And so I jumped on it. Honestly, the pay didn't matter. I just wanted to do something. And it's been absolutely some of the most fun I've had in business. Simply because I get to do everything I love. I'm in my wheelhouse. Everything that's not in my wheelhouse has been taken away, and the responsibility is not asked. But I'm also included in a lot of high-level meetings and a lot of fun growth opportunities where I learn things, and I learn from other executives who, I just learned by being in the room. So it's been a fun experience so far.
Well, while I'm sad about the first part of how I know you, I'm really happy for you because it seems I can attest to that. You're in a better place and life's a little bit easier and you're having a heck of a lot more fun doing what you're kind of meant to do. So they are fortunate to have you. I'll tell you that.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Can you provide any insight to somebody who's listening today if they are that business owner? Because we may have just convinced a few people to just close shop and go and get a job and just say, wow, he's right. Let's just go do this. And it's possible if you're out there, and that's what, your gut is telling you, or God's nudging you and you're getting hit in the back of the head, maybe you should do that. Or maybe this is empowering you to dig deeper and really try to grow your company. Can you give some insights to those people either way?
I don't want to discourage people who want to go on the adventure of business ownership. And there are a lot of successful people out there, and you don't know if you're going to be successful at it until you try. My biggest piece of advice, and I know people gave me this advice and I did not listen. My biggest piece of advice, I feel like my greatest piece of advice, is to hold the business small for at least 5 years. Do not let it grow. Do not allow it. Will want to grow. It will try to grow. I use the analogy of just hold your hands around the throat of that business and keep it down. Because if it grows, it will grow out of hand like a weed. And unless you're really, really skilled, you're going to struggle to keep control of it. And it will get out of your hands and you will not be able to manage it. Keep it small, forcefully keep it small. Reject business. My goodness, if I'd have listened. Reject business, especially those customers who don't look like your customers. Reject it. It's not worth it. Hire a good coach. One more time. Get advisors around you. Even if you can't afford an advertising company, find an advertising guru who loves to have coffee and will advise you until you're big enough to hire them. That's important because you can do it on your own. You truly can to a certain point. I mean, when you get to an enterprise level, you need somebody to take that over because you've got so many other hats to wear. Just as much as your social media, your digital advertising, your billboard advertising, all that stuff. You don't want to be managing that when you've got 12 other systems to deal with. But yeah. If you're nothing else, if you're starting a business, keep it small for 5 years. Very important.
That was really good advice. I took a lot of notes. No. When let's
do that
flip it
next
now.
time.
Yeah, right. My next slide. On the other side, in the chair that you sit in now, I know you're young in your role there,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of companies out there. There's a bigger company in there, director of marketing. What insights can you give? Because you have a lot of vast experience that you kind of put into this bucket now. So how can you help them?
For my current seat, I love the creativity part of it, but know your product, know your service, know who your top 3 buyers are. What is their title? If it's business to business, who's your buyer? Make sure you know that. It's not the CEO. If you think it's the CEO, you're wrong. I mean, unless you're an advertising company, and then maybe. But know your product. I highly recommend, if I can say this, you can cut it out later, LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I'm finding good success there. Finding people and reaching out to them and giving them, just letting them know who we are. If you know your top 3 buyers, who they are, and you know the industries that you're targeting, and we target all industries, we kind of just rotate them as we cycle through our marketing. So we'll rotate between senior living and schools and industrial and manufacturing and just keep rolling them through our marketing plan. Have a marketing plan. That's important. Develop a plan for a minimum of 6 months, if not 12. That way you know what you're doing in the spring, fall, summer, winter. Who are your targets in the winter? It's our market. We have a lot of freeze ups. So in the wintertime, we're targeting those businesses that are affected by freezes so that they know our name. So that marketing plan is important. Knowing who your people are and knowing what businesses you're targeting, I think are probably 3 of my top pieces of advice.
That's really good information. The marketing plan part, I had a tear in my eye because I cannot, if I had a dollar for every company I've met that doesn't have a plan,
So
I
the
would
only
not
company that
be
ever
so.
gave me a brand book was MediaVision. And after seeing that brand book, I'm addicted to having it. I need it. Like I need to disperse it
Thank you.
throughout the company. Like these are these are the Pantone colors. Please don't use the wrong blue. Please, because it is that important.
Brand standards are very important.
That's the term. See, you know the terms. I'm just
Well, I've been doing it for a few years. Well, I know the man that I'm speaking to today, and I know his integrity, and I know what he stands behind. So, if you're a business out there and you do have that kind of a need of what he's talking about with fire suppression systems, and he is going to do his best effort and give you 1,000%. And as the company he stands behind, because I actually know the gentleman he was talking about. I know Casey, and they're a great company, and they are both men of integrity. And um, I'm excited about that. You're putting people like that in the same room, good things are going to happen. So if you have a need, reach out to Rob. If you're in the markets that he talked about, I'm fairly certain, at least let them be one of the three conversations that you have when you're making an educated decision. And I 100% believe that you will not do wrong by that. So Rob, if they want to contact you,
yeah. So if you want to reach out to our Nashville number, it is 615-865-5600 or allstarfireprotection.com. Reach out through our chat there. And if you want to reach me directly, 615-431-3760. Be happy to chat if you want to talk through fire protection or any other services that we offer. Remember, every building that is functioning legally has to have a fire extinguisher, and they have to be inspected every year. So happy to do so.
thank you for that, Rob. So just to close us out today, we went in different directions, which I knew we were going to. But if you're listening today, understand that. So we were talking about marketing in a sense, but marketing is a lot more than just advertising and even pure marketing. It's the culture inside the walls. It's the people. It's the decisions you make. It's the circle that you surround yourself with of a brain trust smarter than you to make a company better and stronger. When it comes down to a company that can have sustainable growth over time, that's what was talked about today, and I hope you took something out of it. Feel free to reach out to either one of us if you have a question. If you wanted to share something, we love that, seriously, and happy to help. And I am, by the way, that guy that will have coffee with pretty much anybody and help their marketing effort in an hour or 2 hour conversation, because I believe it's important. Like Rob's the same kind of person. It's about educating others to do their best, to be their best, and to give them our best. So find people like that are willing to be in your circle, and you'll see differences in your business over time. So Rob, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you have been traveling a lot. We follow each other on social media, and Rob's in Bowling Green, Rob's in Chattanooga, and sometimes in the same day.
Yeah,
He's running around, but it seems like you are having so much fun and just loving life. And I
I am.
can say that you are happier now. If you're a business owner, don't go out and sell your business tomorrow. Just hold on. Just think about it. There's pros and cons of both. Understand that, and that was part of what today was about. Rob, if you want to close us out, anything else you want to share?
Yeah, call me if you want to have coffee and talk about how not to fail your business. I'll be happy to help you. Um, I love coffee, and I don't mind I don't mind sharing my mistakes. I think I think it's better to learn from other people's mistakes than to make them yourself. It's so much better. I've learned a bad lesson in my older age. So thank you. I appreciate the time, James. It's always fun. I was looking forward to this. I had no idea which direction it would go.
Yeah, me neither. I knew I had a guideline. I knew the things I wanted to talk about, but I know us. So, and some our offline conversations go like this too. So this is about as genuine as you're going to get. So thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate you being here. Say hi to Casey for me.
I will. I will.
So last thing, thank you again today, listeners. You're listening to The Marketing Perspective. I am James Stanella. I do own Media Vision Advertising. You're welcome to reach out if you have a question, even if it's a topic that you don't think we can talk about. We can. It's okay. My firm also does PR. If you've gone through issues behind closed doors, I know we're navigating some new territory right now with what's going on in the world. I'll give you my last little nugget today is if you're still doing your marketing effort the same as you did yesterday, it's probably a mistake. There's some things occurring. Marketing needs to stay live and adjust, and your marketing plan has to continually evolve based on what's going on. If you just set it and forget it, I promise it will be unsuccessful. So keep your eyes open, head on a swivel, and we'll keep moving forward. Thank you again for being here. Remember to like, share, love on us, make comments. Please share the link of the podcast, however you listen to it, because we stream everywhere, and help continue to grow this podcast. Thank you very much for being a listener with us on The Marketing Perspective, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.